It's been, every day, every week it was up $1 or $2 a barrel. So it's been a steady increase for the last year and 3 or 4 months. Yesterday, I paid $5.15 a gallon for fuel. At the end of the day, when I go to the grocery store, I'm a consumer just like everybody else is. So I'm feeling it in the pocketbook again.
He's a trucker. American drivers feeling the squeeze as gas prices are hitting an all-time high. President Biden claiming that there is not much that he can do, as Mideast leaders are reportedly ignoring his calls to discuss oil. Joining us now is America's Newsroom co-anchor and the 5 co-host, Dana Perino. Hey, Dana.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you, too. The president is saying he can't do anything about it. There's not much he can do about it, but he can.
Well, it also ignores something that says that your administration and your party have had a philosophy of figuring out a way to depress fossil fuel exploration and production in favor of greener technologies. That was a campaign choice. Do you remember during the campaign he said he wanted to end fossil fuels?
Yes.
And it caused a huge uproar. And everyone said, Mr. Biden, you can't say that on his side. You can't say it out loud is what they meant. But then if you look at the policies, like they were some very concerted efforts to figure out a way to basically depress fossil fuel exploration and production and figure out a way to get to this greener energy future. I think all of us would love a greener energy future. The thing is, we cannot change the laws of physics. They are what they are. And the president is right in that he's saying there's not much he can do right away, like right now, this moment, in order to deal with the pain. There's an interesting idea that I saw that would be something in terms of means tested for people of a certain income level, that you could figure out a way to provide some sort of voucher to help them as you get through, and you make it temporary, maybe a 6-month period, as other domestic oil and gas hopefully get off the ground. But when they say at the administration that there's not much they can do, there's something they could do as they move forward. They're just not willing to do that yet.
Well, you've had the unique opportunity to work in a White House. What do you think is happening behind closed doors there when you've got the Alaska governor saying, let our people drill? When you have Democrats down in Texas saying we have so much oil here, we would rather be independent?
I think that there, in the administration, within the White House itself, there might be some dissenting voices. But remember, it was even on November 3rd that the energy secretary said that the pain of paying more at the pump was what we had to go through in order to get to this greener energy future. Just this week, Kamala Harris and Pete Buttigieg told everybody that the solution to this is to go out and buy an electric vehicle for $60,000. What this opportunity that we have right now in front of us is to be more sober-minded for a long-term energy secure future, which gets us to a greener energy future in the long run. If I were them at the White House right now, I would say, what all can we do to do Operation Warp Speed for domestic oil and gas production? That's what they should be doing.
Right. Don't you remember when you bought your first car? I mean, I could barely afford, I had to make so many payments to afford my first used Honda, and I think it cost like $18,000. A $60,000 car, the average American can't afford that.
And I had the Turismo, I'll never forget it. And I got the car. One of the reasons my parents helped me get a car was because I needed to take my sister to her allergy shots. Right? And that was important. Like, families are trying to figure it out. Imagine you have 3 or 4 cars in a family. You're going to go out and get 3 electric vehicles. Right. And do you remember in Virginia when they had that horrible snowstorm and all those people were stranded for 36 hours? Do you know what happened to the people who had electric cars?
Oh, right.
They ran out of electricity on the road. And I'm not saying that electric vehicles aren't a good solution for some people sometimes, but it's not an immediate solution. And when Kamala Harris and Pete Buttigieg say that, they need to spend less time on Twitter and more time being more serious about what we're going to do, not just in the short term, but I really think the long term for both energy security, price stability, but our own national security as well.
All right. What's coming up on America's Newsroom?
Well, we'll have Rick Perry, the former energy secretary for President Trump, and he's also in Texas. When President Biden was there yesterday, he didn't meet with anybody in the oil and gas industry. I can't understand it. We also have Ted Cruz. Of course, you know him from Texas as well. And then Michael Allen. I love following him. He's really, really smart and plugged in on all things foreign policy, so he'll be there to kick us off today.
Talking about Ukraine.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, Dana.
Thank you.